The IAMPermit user interface is divided into two parts, administration and permit control. We're now looking at the main permit control screen. Looking at the bar across the top, which shows the permit lifecycle and the stages of the permit management process, there are 8 key stages. When you click on any of these permit lifecycle stages, it automatically filters and only shows permits of a certain stage. So for instance, if a permit issuer is only interested in permits waiting to be issued, you just click on the Issued tab, and the user will see only those permits that are at that stage of the permit lifecycle. This helpful color coding allows users to quickly identify the status and progress of permits through the permit control lifecycle. We're now going to take you through the process of creating a permit, from raising the permit, approving the permit, to issuing the permit. Firstly, we give the permit a number. Unique numbers can also be generated by the application. Next, we select the date in which the permit is most likely to be active. One of the key benefits of IAMPermit is that it allows users to create permits weeks and months in advance, particularly useful for a shutdown scenario. You can get all the administration and paperwork completed in advance rather than having this burden just prior to the execution of your event. You select or create your event. In addition to a shutdown scenario, events can be created for routine maintenance and projects, or be grouped under an event for an area of your site. It is essentially a bucket for however you would like to group permits. You select your permit location. This is required because IAMPermit comes with an anti-clash detection feature. So for instance, if you've got a permit which is in the same site, plant, area, or location on the same day, it would be highlighted on the main dashboard, so then you would know that there is a potential clash between 2 or more permits. This is to help you reduce your worker risk. The user needs to identify the work that is to be performed under the permit. The user needs to highlight any physical isolations. Similarly, the user needs to identify any hazards we need to be aware of when carrying out the work under this permit. Then, the user can highlight precautions, which need to be considered when raising the permit. For instance, a worker may require a PVC suit or a harness, depending on the work to be carried out. There are no limits to the number of options you can include. The user then clicks Save That. You can now see the permit we've created here is at the bottom of the view. It shows you that the permit is going to expire in just under 7 days. Once it has expired, this expired status will be displayed. Once a permit has been created, it is possible to add pictures and attachments. So for instance, if you had a site drawing, a P&ID, a method statement, a risk assessment, or a picture of equipment, these can all be uploaded against the permit, so when you print the permit, any attachments are automatically included. We are now going to edit this permit. You can see that it's a fire permit. All the information we've previously added is still there. This section is called Permit Review. In a typical permit management process, there will be someone who would review permits and someone who would approve the permit. The appropriate personnel access IAMPermit, double-check the information within the permit. They can accept it, reject, as well as having the ability to add comments. Once saved, you can see that the permit is now being reviewed, so the color has changed. This review status column shows that the permit has been accepted and is now waiting to be issued. So, if we select that filter and click Edit again, you can see that the permit is now waiting to be issued. So the person that was approving the permit would say whether the area in which the work is to be carried out in is safe to do so. There is an opportunity to add additional personnel that are to be working under that permit. Once complete, the permit can then be issued. Permits can be created well in advance of the date the work is to be carried out. Consequently, one of the key benefits of IAMPermit is a 2-stage approval process. Currently, this permit is being reviewed. Users can then go through this second review, second issue process immediately prior to undertaking the work. This allows for an extra check gate, ensuring that if the scenario has changed since the permit was originally raised, that the changes can be captured. Here, the permit goes back to being reviewed, and then we open it again, confirming that nothing has changed. If this is the case, then the permit will become live. As you can see, we've got a new status which shows that the permit is live. If we're sure that work has been completed and that we're in a position to close out the permit, we use the Permit Closure section. We can then sign off the work to say that we are happy that the work has been completed, which closes this particular permit. You can see in the view that the permit is now closed. We will now review the permit control management dashboards. The dashboards allow you to control a site's or organization's entire permits, providing a real-time, live overview of the status and progress of your permits. There is also a My Permits section, which shows the permits assigned to individual users. For example, you can have contractors logging in to IAMPermit and looking at just their active permits. This dashboard shows which permits are currently live on site. As mentioned earlier in the demonstration, we have an anti-permit clash feature. The dashboard gives us an overview of anti-clash detected on site, allowing those managing workers to avoid increasing risk of harm or exposure. Finally, at the bottom of the dashboard, users can view permits which have been closed out. The dashboards are highly configurable, so users can set their dashboards up to show you the information that's most important to a particular user in a layout that makes the most benefit to them. Lastly, administration enables administrators to configure user accounts, software permissions, and content, so that's where we'll start. IAMPermit allows you to tailor user permissions to individual users. Put simply, you can choose what users can do within the system. So for instance, if you only wanted certain users to approve permits, you'd only give them that level of access, and that's all they could do. There's a configurable hierarchy, allowing permit to be used by a company not just at a single plant or site, but across an entire organization. So for example, in a single view, you could set a user's account to manage all permits across an entire region, country, or the planet as a whole. Next, we have the application level configuration, which if we drop into IAMPermit from the menu bar, from the Events tab along to the right, these sections give you the ability to configure IAMPermit dropdowns or lookups. So for instance, there is a predefined list of typical precautions. Users have the ability to edit these and add to the list. Any amends will automatically show up on the permit form once you've made alterations. This configurability applies in many areas of the application. IAMPermit comes with lots of standard sub-permit types pre-configured. These are for specific activity types. Here, we show fire and confined space. Other permit types not currently in the software can be added at your request. Now, to introduce you to the permit control interface. Within the Events section, you can group all your permits in a certain way. So, for instance, if you were managing a shutdown, you could group all your permits under that shutdown event. This grouping can also then be applied for other permit management features and reporting. IAMPermit is configured to work in a desktop environment, as well as on mobile devices, such as smartphones and tablets. IAMTech provides a full range of proven intrinsically safe hardware, all of which are compatible with this application, including the world's first Zone 1 tablet. For more information about IAMPermit and our intrinsically safe hardware, please email sales@iamtech.com. Thank you for your time.